make my E39 drivable and to make it roadworthy in our country, we needed to change a couple things. So the first thing which we did when I bought the car was the engine was running only on 4 or 5 cylinders, and it was running poorly. Sometimes it started on going on all 6 cylinders, and sometimes it was going only on 5 or 4. We figured out that the problem is the vacuum leaks, because all of those vacuum hoses were broken or ripped apart or something like that.
The intake boot is torn.
So as you can see, this is the little part.
Elbow that goes to the idle control valve. It had a huge split, as you can see. So this was another source of the vacuum leak.
And we figured that it will be the easiest repair to see if it fixes any damage. Meanwhile, we also changed the oil because the previous owner neglected the maintenance of the car.
Well, the first giveaway is the VANAS unit. The VANAS unit. It has this gunk on it, all sorts of gunk, some oil. There's a lot of oil varnish.
And so we changed the oil, we changed the oil filter, we changed the fuel filter. We did the basic maintenance, and we also changed the spark plugs, and we changed the camshaft positioning sensor, which, as to my mistake, I bought non-OEM model or non-OEM brand. And if you know something about BMWs, the camshaft or crankshaft positioning sensors or sensors whatsoever in BMW engines need to be OEM to be functioning properly. The problem is still there. Sometimes I have to start the car twice to make sure it runs correctly, but it fixes the problem for now. Next thing which we did was that we changed the intake manifold gaskets and also valve cover gaskets. All the hoses and the CCV system is new.
The oil separator is here. Just 2 more hoses. We have them.
The gasket is done.
We're gonna install the manifold back to the engine.
Then we also changed the vacuum hoses, as I mentioned earlier. We found out that the vacuum elbow or vacuum hose had very big tear. Changed that, and after that the car started running correctly. But we still didn't pass the inspection, and the car was still not legally drivable on the roads. So we needed to get the car on papers, and to do that we needed to repair the brakes because the rear brakes were shit.
As you can see, the brakes are not the best. I've seen worse, I've seen better. Those are ready to be changed for new ones.
So we changed the rear brake pads, rear brake rotors, discs. We also changed the parking brakes assembly or the brake shoes. So as you can see, we've been able to change the parking brake shoes, all the springs, and now we will try to mount the brake disc and the caliper.
And we're gonna adjust the shoes so that they will engage the rotor as they should.
And now the brakes are very good. The front brakes didn't need a change, so we left it as it is. But the next thing which was very problematic with this car was the LCM. Just so you know, before I fully, let's say, repaired this car and put it on papers or registered it correctly, I let the car sit in the winter, and when I got the car into the garage, there was a little bit of snow on the top and as well on the hood and on the fenders. And as it was warmer in the garage, the snow started to melt. When I then turned the engine on, after a couple of weeks, I found out that the dashcam lights or the dashcam backlight didn't work properly or didn't work at all. The same with the radio, the same with the telephone backlight. And so I figured that there will be some problem in the electronics. We started by disassembling the cluster gauges to see if there were any cables loose or some connectors disconnected and etc. And we didn't find anything. So the next solution was that it will be the LCM or the light control module. We found out that on the E39, not like on the E46, the LCM module is near the passenger footwell. We took out the LCM module. We figured there will be some problem with the moisture because we saw that the carpeting was wet. We took out the LCM module, we took out the carpeting, dried it out with the heat gun, the LCM as well as the carpeting. We let it dry out of the original position, and then we reconnected the LCM again. I started the car and it was working properly. So I was like, okay, problem fixed for now. The problem was bigger than expected because after a couple of days we were working on something different with the car, and then when I tried to start the car after maybe 2 days or one day and a half, I came into the garage, tried to start the car, and the battery was dead. Okay, so I figured out that the LCM module broke again, and it had to turn on all the lights when the keys were not in the ignition while I was at home sleeping or whatever. The LCM module in the E39 or maybe in other BMWs as well is programmed to the exact model, so we had to get a new one, the new LCM. We had to figure out how to program it. I had to buy the BMW 1.4 scanner as well as with the cables and install the CD and everything. We got it done. So the LCM was no longer a problem. And then we started the process of getting the car registered. And on the first inspection, they found out that my exhaust system leaks. I had to repeat the inspection. And so we got the exhaust down. We welded all the little spots and holes which we could find. We went again for the inspection. It passed, but it was still running poorly. And the whole process was, we were repairing the car on the go as we were finding other problems which were not visible before that. Because, for example, when we fixed the vacuum hose, the problems with the intake manifold gaskets started showing more and more. And then when we fixed that, we needed to change some other things. So now this E39 is my daily. I drive this car for, it is almost or more than half a year. I have to knock on wood or on the wood covers in the BMW that it never let me down so that I couldn't drive anymore or that I would be left somewhere. There are a couple of things which need changing. For example, the thermostat, because the car is not warming up very fast. I have to say the car is running very well. As I said, it never let me down for now, let's say, because as you know, BMWs, you have to be ready for everything. I did around 25 or 26,000 kilometers since May or since April or June, I don't know, when I registered it. And for now it will be my daily driver for a few months at least, while we are working on the E46, which the progress you can see in the other video. This is probably everything from this short or not so short introduction of the E39 and what we done to it to get it back on the road. And yeah, the rest will follow. We will see what we will need to change. As with car this old and with this, let's say, pretty high mileage, there will be some errors and faults and some things broken, but it's the part of the game. So yeah, thank you for watching and we will see you in the next video.